Blue Dog Films presents Paid to Dream with Charles Dennis.
Hello, it's Charles Dennis, Paid to Dream. It's election night. Just heard that Abigail Spanberger is the Democratic governor of Virginia. Thank you, everyone. Let's keep it all going. And here's a man who knows a little something about politics himself, my friend Geoffrey Owens. In addition to being one of the great experts on Shakespeare in this country, he is the son of a former congressman from Brooklyn for 24 years, Major Owens. So, how do you feel?
I feel like I'm the son of a congressman for 24 years, Major Owens. Hi, Charles.
Hi, Geoffrey.
I've never quite had that intro before.
Well, you
But
know,
proud.
I'm looking for an ear. So what do you think how would your father feel about the present state of the House of Representatives?
I mean, he'd be in agony. I hate to say this because of the way it sounds, but I'm glad that he's passed on at this point so that he never saw, for instance, the election of Trump. He passed away 3 years before that catastrophe. And I have to say, I'm glad he was spared that agony. Anyway, I'm the black sheep of the family, by the way, Charles, because my whole family is political, except I have always been rather apolitical until 2016, in which I forcibly became politicized.
But you did go to Obama's inauguration.
I did. My father and I went to was it the second inauguration or the first? I think the second, the re-election inauguration. We went together to D.C. That was a beautiful trip, a beautiful time. Yeah.
Good seats?
Relatively. Oh, hold on. My alarm's going off. Oh, by the way, speaking of politics,
Yes.
whose side were you on for the World Series? I'm curious.
Well,
my Canadian friend who lives in L.A.
Not just Canadian, but born and raised in Toronto.
Okay.
So that was and I have the same problem when they go to the hockey game.
But tell me who you were rooting for.
Well,
I was rooting for the Blue Jays.
You were?
Oh, absolutely. Because I wanted them to win and shove their World Series trophy up Donald Trump's ass. I swear.
I'm so happy you've become political.
Well, not rabidly so, but I mean, when it comes to what's some of the things that are going on, it's not politics, Charles. It's just the basic struggle between good and evil. You know what I mean? It's not politics. It's like, it's a no-brainer struggle between good and evil.
I love some of the things you post on Facebook from, other, that thing of LBJs about white Republicans, so they have someone to look down on.
Yeah.
Oh. And then Eisenhower's thing about two parties and that, you're not a party, you're just
whatever he called it.
Yeah. No, you do your homework and you present it in a way that everyone should go to your primer and read it,
Well, most of the stuff is just reposting, but occasionally I post original things like "fuck AI."
Oh my God, I've been using this as a platform because the people who've seen the other shows know, but it makes me crazy. This fake funeral of Diane Keaton's, where Steve Martin got up and spoke with the congregation behind him. Hello.
Yes.
And
Listen,
then Jack Nicholson looking remarkably well, like for 20 years.
Sometimes you can tell it's fake, and sometimes it's more difficult. Sometimes you just know, depending on your, what you know in life and what your experience is. I was the victim of this bullshit recently when Malcolm Jamal Warner died.
Yeah.
And I posted something very short and succinct about his death and what it meant to me, very short. And next thing I know, on Facebook, I see this AI-generated post with a fake photograph of me in grief, and a quote of mine, only a little fraction of which was what I actually said, and all this bullshit that somebody made up, and I was furious.
And you have no recourse.
If I do, I don't know what it is.
You know, when I was a little boy, there was a show called Disneyland, which coincided with the opening of Disneyland. And they had a thing about atomic energy, and there was this thing about the genie coming out of the bottle and the attempt to get it back in. And that was the first time I'd ever heard the genie out of the bottle analogy. And I think we're stuck with this thing. How do you uninvent something?
Yeah, but we've got to monitor it. We've got to resist the negative uses of it. We can't just resign ourselves to it. We have to.
Go ahead.
We have to try to control it somehow. Especially when it comes to creativity and the arts.
I totally agree with you. But my sci-fi movie is that the people who created it lose control as well, and the AI takes over them, so that there is no one to answer to except the AI.
Right.
Which is kind of Orwellian. It's really beyond Big Brother. It's
right.
Wow, scary stuff.
I was heartened recently when I saw Guillermo del Toro's response to AI when someone asked him about using AI, and he said very emphatically, "I'd rather die." And I loved hearing that.
You know, there's just so much magic to be done on our own without requiring this other thing. And then I see these pictures on YouTube. There was a thing today about Donald O'Connor, and there's a picture of this 100-year-old man. I thought, Donald O'Connor died a long time ago. Is this what he would have? Why are you doing this?
I know. Oh, look, it's cruel. I see these posts on Facebook of a dead person, a dead famous person with a birthday cake in front of them with the number of the years he is stuck in the cake, and the dead person is smiling, and it says 109 years old or whatever. And I can't resist. I comment, he's dead. Let's just be clear. One of Kirk Douglas, whom I adored and whom I met when he was about 103 or so, a year or so before he died. I mean, no disrespect, but I'm sorry. He's dead. Leave him alone. Don't post pictures of him as if he's alive.
Yeah, and last week I saw Sinatra, JFK, and Marilyn Monroe sitting together in a panel or got a talk show or so. And are you people all crazy?
But the scary thing is, most people don't know that it's not true. That's what's scary. Most people don't. I saw something posted about a famous black person. I don't remember who it was, a very famous black person, a post on Facebook, and there was a photograph of the famous black person, except there was one problem, Charles. It wasn't the right person. It was completely a different person. And I posted something angry about, that's not him, whatever. And the guy, I didn't realize that it was a friend of mine he hadn't posted it originally, but he reposted it. A friend of mine reposted it. And he was he was a little upset that he felt like I had attacked him about it. I didn't even realize it was he. I was attacking the original poster of it. How dare you? I mean, it was supposed to be about Booker T. Washington, and it was a picture of Wilt Chamberlain. I mean, it was that ridiculous.
You know, people not knowing the difference. I still remember seeing the movie of Pearlie Victorious. It was called Gone Are the Days. It was the first time I ever saw Godfrey Cambridge, and he came up to, I think it was Sorrel Book playing the play, and he said, "Is Rudolph Valentino still dead? Get him!"
These days, we wouldn't be sure.
Yeah. Ain't it the truth? Ain't it the truth? I discovered something you and I both had in common. We both played Peter Pan, and it's very rare to find someone, a male, who played Peter Pan.
Well, Charles, I have to disabuse you of that notion. I didn't play Peter Pan. I was in a production of Peter Pan. I played Slightly Soiled. I played the leader of the Lost Boys.
I don't think you can call that character slightly soiled anymore.
No,
I mean, it's
that's
all
right. I
gone.
have to come up with some politically correct
In
euphemism for it.
Arcata High School.
No, this is at Yale, actually. As an undergraduate at Yale, I was in a Yale Dramat production of Peter Pan, written by a very fine um, playwright by Guy Gallo, who went on to write some very notable screenplays, actually, and directed by a wonderful director named Peter Wallace. It was a very fine production. Um, but no, I wasn't Peter Pan, actually.
So where did you get the spark to go into acting?
I got the spark when I used to imitate animals in my house. And my mother, when we had guests, my mother would say, Geoffrey, do the little turtle thing. And I'd do the little turtle thing for the guests, and they'd be charmed. And that's where I got the bug, Charles. Like, hey, I like this. Hey, they like me.
Could you do the little turtle thing now? 'Cause I
Not
don't
if my
know.
life depended on it. I have no idea what it was, but we
Unlike
used.
Kirk Douglas, who apparently was at the American Academy of Dramatic Art, and they all had to do an animal, and he was given an owl, and then they wouldn't let him do it. And in his memoir, all those years later, he said, "I can still do that owl."
Right?
He just he always felt.
I, I'm tempted to try to do my Spartacus imitation. Well, yeah, I know it probably traumatized him. No, I got that. I used to. My brothers and I used to act out dinosaurs. But one of us would play the piano, and the other would act out the appropriate dinosaur, and we do that kind of stuff, and entertain each other. And then in grade school, I was in school plays, and everyone thought I was terrific and funny and entertaining, and I thought, oh, this is kind of fun, and people like it. And eventually, by the time I got to junior high school, which they call middle school now, I guess, I got more serious about it because I had a wonderful drama teacher in middle school, if you can believe that, named William Fleischman, and he instilled in me a seriousness at age 13 or so, 14, a seriousness about the craft of acting, which I then carried on to the High School of Performing Arts for a year in New York City, and then at John Dewey High School as part of a repertory company, and then I was a English major and a drama minor at Yale, and then right into the business after graduating from college. So it started in grade school, just, having fun, and then just got more and more serious.
Who was in your class at Yale?
Michael Cerveris, the 2-time Tony Award winner. And then right in front of us was David Hyde Pierce and Bronson Pinchot.
Duo.
And a wonderful actor behind me, named Steven Skybell, who's never really made much of a name in movies and TV, but he's a brilliant stage actor. And just he's the one who did Tevier in the Yiddish production of
Oh, right,
of
yes,
Fiddler
yes.
on the Roof. He was Tevier in Joel Gray's Yiddish production. Steven
Wish I'd
Skybell,
seen
wonderful. So yeah, I was surrounded by some terrific. Jodie Foster was a year behind me, and Jennifer Beals a couple of years behind me, I think. So yeah,
So what was your first legit gig?
my first legit gig out of college was a show called How the World Got Wisdom. It was a collection of 12 or so or African folk tales in dramatic, in stage version. I played 12 different characters, including a caterpillar. This was at the St. Clement.
That turtle helped out.
The turtle came in handy, yes. The turtle morphed into a caterpillar. And it was at right next to St. Clement's, the famous theater. It was the Hartley House Theater. And someone came to see that production, and as a result offered me an equity card in an equity show. And that's how I became equity, like 3 or 4 months after starting my career.
And then how long after that was the Cosby Show?
6 months after that.
Good
All
for
in
you.
1985, 40 years ago.
Elvin Tibideaux, 7 years?
7 years, yeah. The last 7 years of the 8 years of the show, yeah. Yeah. It's hard to tell people that when I tell people the show ended 33, 34 years ago, they're like, what? It's like, yeah, it ended 33 years ago.
Yeah, I wrote to someone today. They sent me a picture of his grandson with his father, and the father I remember holding in my arms, and I said, "Please make the carousel stop spinning. It's
Yeah,
enough."
yeah, yeah.
I that's the hard part. The aging, that's cool. I get it, but when I am presented with these infants and children that I've not seen since, who are
Right.
suddenly, grown-ups.
Yeah, well, for instance, speaking of the Cosby Show, I was at a July 4th party in New Jersey, in Jersey City, and I was at a friend's apartment, and we're up on the roof watching the fireworks, and a woman comes up to me and says, "Hey, Jeffrey, you don't remember me? I'm Kimberly. I'm the mother of the two boys that played your son on the Cosby Show. I'm the mother of the two boys that played Nelson, your son, on the Cosby Show. And by the way, they're coming up in a moment. And few minutes later, there they are, 36 years old each.
Oh God.
And it was just crazy. We hadn't seen, I hadn't seen them since they were 3.
Did they remember you?
Well, they remembered me in the sense that all these years they
The
knew who I
reruns.
was.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
but and I'm sure from watching the show they would have recognized me. I, of course, would never have recognized them in 1,000 years.
Now,
Yeah.
Felicia's daughter, who I'm crazy about,
Condola.
you did another show with her, The Haves and Have-Nots?
No, actually, Charles, where are you getting your info from?
You're fired. You're fired. I just got rid of the researcher. Jesus. I usually do it myself. Now get the hell out of here. Sorry, Geoffrey. This thing won't happen again.
No, Condola and I were actually in a Broadway production of Romeo and Juliet, in which I played Juliet and she played Montague. No, I'm kidding. In which she played Juliet, of course, to Orlando Bloom's
Right.
Romeo,
But
and I
wasn't this
was the
filmed?
prince, Aeschylus.
Right. Sorry.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
missed it.
2013.
And it was filmed?
It actually was filmed and had some limited theatrical release.
Well, tell me about the Haves and Have-Nots anyhow, because I'm fascinated by Tyler Perry. Was he heavily involved?
Well, he was directly involved. He was everything and everywhere. And I have to tell you, I loved working with him. It was a wonderful experience. It was all of 4 or 5 days. I was in Atlanta for a week. He treated me like absolute royalty. And he worked at a breakneck pace with which, thanks to my training and my preparation specifically for that week of work, I was able to keep up with him. I had a great time. I loved the way he worked, just boom, 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 boom. And it was thrilling. He was terrific.
Was this at his facility in
At
Atlanta?
at his new, incredible, huge, and wonderful studio in Atlanta.
Yeah, he is an incredible force. And I loved him in Gone Girl Gone.
And he's a great actor. He's a
Yeah,
wonderful
yeah,
actor.
He's a true, other than Medea, the other.
Yeah.
just
Well,
original
I
stuff.
enjoy it. I myself, I enjoy the Medea stuff, actually.
No, he's wonderful. But
And
it
in fact, I'll tell you something, Charles. He does a Medea. He has done. I don't know if he does anymore. He did a Medea theater show, which of course he started with all the theater shows that he wrote. He does a Medea theater show that was one of the funniest and most enjoyable things I've ever seen on stage. I'm not exaggerating. It was that good. It was wonderful. Josette and I saw it, 7 years ago or so by now, but we saw it twice. It was incredible. So his stage presence is amazing.
I'd love to see him on stage. I think he was at the Beacon a couple of times.
Well, his shows started at when he did his shows in New York, they would often be at the Beacon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's when I was first aware of him.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Back in I think in the 90s or the early 2000s or whatever. I remember I went to one of them a long time ago before anyone knew his name. Yeah, it's an incredible story. Incredible.
I've said this to you before. I said, I have seen many productions of Midsummer Night's Dream, but you are my favorite Nick Bottom. I have to say Nick Bottom because if I say you're my favorite Bottom, once again.
Thank you, Charles. I appreciate the distinction. Yes.
Yeah, who's the top? No. It was
You're the top.
You just brought an attitude to it that I never conceived of. It was
I
just
love doing that production. I'm so glad you saw that, Charles.
and it was outdoors. What was that venue? City Hall?
Well, we did it a few places, Charles, but the place you saw, wasn't it downtown off the
Yeah, it was
freeway?
downtown in
In a plaza.
a plaza. That's right.
In a public plaza off the 5. Near the opera house, near the concert hall.
You know, it's funny. You go to see your friends in the theater, and they go, "Yeah, you know." But I didn't know you. I mean, I knew you personally, but I didn't know that guy Nick Bottom. That was the thing for. I said, he's possessed, and that's the way it should be.
It was a wonderful experience. That guy, the director Ben Donnenberg. Do you know Ben Donnenberg?
No.
Ben Donnenberg was the leader of that theater. He still is. I think they've changed names, but it used to be Shakespeare Festival LA. I think they might have a different name. He's the company that has the sponsorship and the support of Tom Hanks and Tom Hanks's wife.
Oh, that's a good support.
They're huge fans of his and his company. I think Tom Hanks played Falstaff for him or something in some either showcase or production or something.
Yeah, well, those are his roots. Hanks was the Michigan Shakespeare Festival.
I didn't even know that, but he's very close with Ben. Ben's a Juilliard graduate who's had this company in LA for years. And I originally auditioned for Oberon, and he called me back and said, "I want you to read for Bottom." So that's how that happened.
And that's the only time. That's the only time you've played the part.
That's the only time I played the part. The other time, I've been in 3 productions of Midsummer. The other time I played Puck. I played Puck at the Public under the not the direction, but the production of Joseph Papp. And I did. I played Oberon. I played Theseus once as well.
And you started your own theater company in Brooklyn?
A long time ago, back in the early 90s, the Brooklyn Shakespeare Company. It lasted about 3 years.
Well, that's a good run.
I guess so. I ran out of money. I couldn't keep it going. And I wasn't good at grant writing and fundraising. Yeah. Terrible at that. So it just sank.
Did you direct and act in it?
Yes, I did. I directed 3 productions and I acted in one of them as well. I did Richard III as well as directed it. And I directed King Lear and I directed Much Ado About Nothing.
And where did you play Casca?
In Washington, D.C.
Yes.
At the theater, the famous theater in Washington under, Michael Kahn. He didn't direct us, but still at the head of it. Yeah.
And who were the other conspirators?
I feel terrible saying I don't remember my colleagues' names. I'll tell you this, it was not a good production. It was not a good production. But it was a wonderful opportunity to do that role.
But a lot of people may not know that you are a brilliant teacher and you have taught everywhere.
Yeah, I've taught quite a few places, and I still have my own workshop that I do, a Shakespeare workshop that I run weekly.
Where is that?
That's in Tribeca on Monday nights. I have a 3-hour workshop every week, text analysis and performance. That's a class I've been doing for on and off for 35 years. Yeah,
every Monday.
Not quite every, but yeah. Usually it's been Monday's usually been my night. And I recently went back to it being live in person. Before 3 or 4 months ago, for 5 years it was remote. Because once COVID hit, I went remote. But just went back to about 4 months ago. Went back to being in person, which is a pleasure. But yeah, I've taught briefly or more extended HB Studio for a long time. I taught at FSU in Florida. I taught at Yale briefly. I taught at NYU briefly. I taught at Pace. I taught at Stella Adler Studio.
Was she still around?
Huh?
Was Stella still around?
No, I recently, although according to the internet, She just had a birthday.
She-
She's 207, and boy, does she look terrific. No, I just been teaching there in the last 3 or 4 years.
I met her once.
You met everyone at least once, Charles.
I know. This is my book. I finally finished it and sent it to the agent today.
Oh my gosh, how wonderful.
It's called Who the Hell is Charles Dennis?
Is it really?
Because many years ago, I interviewed Jason Robards when he was doing The Devils, the very short-lived production on Broadway. And his then-wife, Lauren Bacall, was down the street doing Cactus Flower. He closed after 68 performances. That show ran 720. But she would call him every night in the dressing room just to see what the state of what she was going to have to deal with.
Yeah.
Having, done Bogart 100, here was revisited. And, I could hear her voice going, "How you doing?" I go, "Oh, I'm just sitting here with Charles Dennis." And through the phone, I heard, "Who the hell is Charles Dennis?" And I thought, that's a great title.
It is a great title.
That day has come, and I've only got like half. I had to stop at 320 pages because I said, nobody's going to be able to lift this thing up,
Oh, I can't wait to read it, Charles.
Oh, you'll enjoy it. It's
I know I will. Oh my gosh.
yeah, it's been a lot.
I'll
of fun.
devour it the way that I devoured Frank Langella's book.
Oh, well, that's what Bryan Cranston, who I've known for.
Yes, I know. I met him at your house.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But we had coffee about 2 years ago, or he had just done a thing with Langella, and he came to coffee and he had the book under his arm and he said, "When are you going to write your book?" And he's going to do the foreword to the book.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful.
But he's been pushing me. These stories you've got to
Yes, absolutely.
You'll appreciate this as a Shakespearean. I was working at the Stratford Festival in Canada, 1967, and every year they'd give out the Guthrie Award, the scholarship for people. Once a year, Tyrone Guthrie, who started the place in 1953, came back to give a lecture. And he was very tall. And he sat down on that thrust stage and crossed one leg over the other. It was like a tripod on a camera, And he said, "Acting is like picking your nose. There is no proper way. Actors have different ways. Some just stick their finger straight up and get on with it. Others try sneaking up and then going in." He had us rolling in the aisle.
My
with
gosh.
Variations of picking your nose.
That is brilliant. The nose picking analogy.
Yeah.
My gosh.
He was a force. He really was. Listen, I want to ask you about your book,
What book?
The Children. There it is.
What
was
book?
Halloween? Oh, I should have interviewed you last week.
Was
It was
Halloween night. For next
Can
year.
Can you read a little bit for us?
I'll read you the beginning. It's dedicated to my 2 children, Jordan and Ophelia. And it starts like this. "'Twas Halloween night, and all through the town, all the children were glad that the sun had gone down. Each one had a costume and a bag to go meeting the folks that would give them sweets while trick-or-treating. These kids weren't dressed as just goblins and ghosts. They had hundreds of outfits to show to their hosts. There were warlocks and warlords and werewolves and witches, some in big purple hats, some in dark breeches, menacing monsters and madmen and mummies, frightening fashions to earn them their yummies, yummies that soon would bounce round in their tummy."
Oh, who did these drawings?
Karen Harrod. Karen Hapgood Harrod, my friend, she is brilliant. It's beautifully illustrated. Beautifully illustrated.
And available on Amazon, I believe.
I don't want to say that. It's available Barnes and Nobles.
Okay.
I don't want to plug Amazon. It's available at Barnes and Nobles. And, yeah, I mean, and when next Halloween rolls around, I'll be sending out my email blast. And, what I did this year was I contacted everyone I knew and said, hey, if you want a signed copy, buy it from me and I'll sign one and ship it to you. So I'm going to do that next year as well, starting in probably late August, early September. I had a lot of great response this year, shipping them all over the country and signing them for friends and family.
Well, my stepson Grayson, even though he's going to be 12, he's still Halloween's way up there. So I'll be getting one for Grayson for next year.
Awesome. And I'll sign it when I see you.
Of course. Now listen, the time has come, as it always does. I told you it's...
Yeah, it always, when you're having fun, right?
Yeah, exactly. Anyhow, Geoffrey Owens, I love you. Good to see you again.
Love you too. Thank you.
And this is Charles Dennis. This has been a wonderful episode of Paid to Dream, and there'll be more to come. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Charles.